Imagine a train speeding through the night, a metal serpent of progress and industry. But this isn't a normal train. Its cargo isn't just goods, it's a silent, invisible killer. A substance so toxic that if it escapes, it could create a chemical cloud capable of wiping out a city. This is the terrifying story of a train derailment that didn't just cause a minor incident. It came within inches of becoming one of the worst man-made disasters in American history. This is about a small town, a colossal threat, and a shocking failure that exposed just how close we live to catastrophe every single day. The setup, a routine journey. The year was 1978. The location, Waverly, Tennessee. A small town of about 4,000 residents, nestled in the heart of the state. Life was simple, centered around local businesses, family, and community. On February 22nd, the peaceful routine was interrupted by the roar of a Louisville and Nashville Railroad freight train. It was an unremarkable train, just another part of the nation's vast, intricate rail network. But this particular train was carrying a deadly secret. One of its tank cars was filled with liquid chlorine, a highly toxic chemical used in everything from cleaning supplies to industrial manufacturing. In its liquid state, chlorine is a controlled, manageable substance. But if that tank were to be ruptured, the liquid would rapidly expand into a poisonous gas, heavier than air. It would settle in low-lying areas, suffocating anything and anyone it touched. A single tank car could hold enough chlorine to create a death cloud that would render an entire town uninhabitable for years. It was a rolling time bomb, and the people of Waverly had no idea. The moment of impact, an ordinary derailment. The derailment itself was unremarkable. A series of cars began to leave the tracks, one after another, their metal wheels screeching against the rails before finally toppling over. The scene was chaotic, but at first not alarming. Local residents and emergency services arrived on the scene, seeing tangled metal and overturned freight cars. A small gas leak was quickly identified and contained. It was a mess, but a manageable one. The small fire that had started was quickly put out. Among the wreckage was a tank car marked LNN 96173. This was the car containing the liquid chlorine. The firefighters on the scene, initially focused on the visible wreckage and the contained fire, did not know the exact contents of every car. The risk of a hazardous material leak was present, but it was just one of many concerns. A decision was made to stabilize the scene and bring in specialized teams to handle the cleanup. This was a textbook response to a standard freight train accident. The town's leaders and first responders believed they had the situation under control, but they were dangerously wrong. The looming threat, the invisible predator. As the hours passed and cleanup efforts began, the true danger lurking in the wreckage became apparent. That small fire, which was thought to be out, had reignited in the undercarriage of one of the cars. It was slowly, silently, and invisibly burning hotter and hotter. The heat was steadily building, reaching the belly of the chlorine tank car LNN 96173. The tank's temperature began to climb, and with every passing minute the pressure inside rose to a critical point. The problem was that no one saw the fire. It was hidden from view, masked by the sheer scale of the wreckage. The temperature gauges on the tank car's exterior were climbing rapidly, but no one was monitoring them. The disaster response was running on a delayed understanding of the threat, a ticking time bomb, ticking just feet away from a bustling cleanup crew. What happened next was a horrifying sequence of events, a chilling escalation that demonstrated how a simple accident could snowball into a national crisis. The heat from the fire was now intense enough to melt the fusible plug on the top of the chlorine tank car. A small, seemingly insignificant safety feature designed to relieve pressure. When it melted, it didn't just vent the gas. It unleashed the monster within. A disaster in slow motion. The heat was building, but the danger remained hidden. The small, smoldering fire was invisible to the cleanup crews, a ticking bomb under a pile of steel. The residents of Waverly, Tennessee, watched from a distance, concerned but not terrified. The local fire department, thinking the situation was contained, had even sent some of its trucks back to the station. What they didn't know was that they were standing at the edge of a new kind of war, an invisible battle against a chemical weapon, a dangerous calm. The initial response to the derailment was a model of calm, and that calm was the most dangerous part of all. The focus was on clearing the tracks and getting the rail line open again. The Louisville and Nashville Railroad sent in its own crews, and a large crane was brought in to lift the derailed cars. This was a costly, complex operation, but it was routine. No one was panicking. There was a general sense of control. But deep within the wreckage, the unseen fire continued its work. It was a slow-motion disaster, a terrifying countdown happening just beneath the surface. The pressure inside the chlorine tank car, LNN 96173, was rising steadily. Chlorine is a liquid at normal temperatures and pressures, but it becomes a gas when heated. The superheated liquid was turning into a volatile gas, a chemical weapon building in pressure with every passing minute. The tank car was built to withstand an enormous amount of pressure, but it wasn't designed to be baked by a fire. Its safety valve, a small but critical component, was designed to release gas at a certain pressure, but it couldn't handle the extreme temperatures. The rising heat was melting the very safety features designed to protect the public, a haunting sound. The first real sign of the escalating danger wasn't a fire alarm or a siren. It was a low, mournful sound, a humming that seemed to vibrate through the air. The internal pressure of LNN 96173 had reached a critical point. The sound was the unmistakable noise of the tank car's safety valve struggling to hold back the immense pressure. A fine mist began to spray from the top of the tank, not gas but liquid, a chilling sign that the pressure was too great to be contained. This was a major turning point. The mist was an obvious sign of a chemical leak. The local first responders, now in a state of high alert, called for immediate evacuation of the surrounding area. The humming sound was a siren from the abyss, a signal that the town was on the brink of disaster. The once calm response turned into a frantic scramble. People were told to leave their homes, grab their families and get out. The fire, still hidden, was now a race against the clock. The heat was increasing exponentially, and the mist of chlorine was becoming more visible, a ghostly plume hovering over the wreckage. The air was thick with the chemical, and the first responders, now fully aware of the scale of the threat, were desperate. The tank car wasn't just leaking, it was about to fail. A stroke of luck. The tipping point arrived. The immense pressure became too much for the tank car to bear. The relief valve finally ruptured, but instead of the catastrophic explosion that everyone feared, something unexpected happened. The tank car didn't burst open in a single deadly blast. Instead, the pressure was released in a controlled, albeit terrifying, spray of gas. The plume was still deadly, but the worst-case scenario, a massive, instantaneous release of the entire tank's contents, was narrowly avoided. The chemical cloud began to spread, a toxic fog settling over the landscape. Local authorities and first responders, moving with incredible speed, managed to evacuate the area in time. But the near miss was a chilling reminder of how close they had come to a catastrophe on the scale of a major citywide disaster. This wasn't a testament to human engineering or foresight. It was a testament to a combination of luck and the desperate heroism of a handful of individuals who made split-second decisions in the face of an unprecedented threat. The incident was over, but the questions it raised were just beginning to be asked. What lessons could a nation learn from a disaster that didn't happen? Part 3. A nation humbled by a near miss. The town of Waverly was saved, but the incident was far from over. The chlorine leak had sickened hundreds and killed 16 people. The tragedy was devastating, but it could have been so much worse. The Waverly derailment exposed the shocking reality of our vulnerability, that our nation's safety was often a matter of blind luck, not foresight. Lessons we had to learn. The incident became a national wake-up call. It forced America to confront the hidden dangers of its vast transportation infrastructure. The disaster sparked a new era of regulations, training, and technology. Authorities realized that a simple all-clear wasn't enough. Emergency responders needed real-time information about a train's cargo. This led to the creation of the Emergency Response Guidebook, a critical resource that provides first responders with detailed information on hazardous materials. It was a direct result of the chaos and confusion at Waverly. Furthermore, the incident highlighted the need for better communication between railroads and local emergency services. A culture of silence and secrecy was replaced with a new mandate for transparency. But the lessons weren't just about procedure. They were about perspective. The derailment forced us to see our world differently. A train wasn't just a way to move goods. It was a lifeline that carried both the tools of progress and the potential for unimaginable destruction. The chlorine in that tank car was the same chemical used to purify our water and sanitize our pools. Yet in the wrong circumstances, it was a deadly weapon. The story of the Waverly derailment is a testament to human resilience and a chilling reminder of our vulnerability. It's a story of how a routine moment can become a defining one, and how a near miss can be just as powerful as a full-blown catastrophe. We can choose to forget this event, to assume that we've learned all the lessons, or we can choose to remember the people of Waverly and the lessons they were forced to learn the hard way. If you found this story compelling, I have a request for you. This video is just one part of a bigger picture. The story of our world is full of moments when everything almost changed. I've put together a video that goes into another one of these events, a nuclear crisis that was far closer to disaster than we ever imagined.